All right, let us say hello to Gzim Selmani. You may know him as Rezar from the Authors of Pain tag team, the former WWE tag team champion, the former NXT tag team champion, Dusty Rhodes Classic tournament champ. And now he is returning to the combat sports world, taking the gloves off too. He signed with BKFC and will be competing at KnuckleMania 6, February 7th in Philadelphia. Gzim Selmani is here. Thank you for being here, sir. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Training hard and excited to come back to the combat world.
I'm very excited to have you here. But obviously, first things first, we'll get more into the journey and the pro wrestling and all that. But yeah, BKFC and KnuckleMania. How in the world did this happen? Like this was not on a lot of people's bingo cards. Was this on your bingo card? Like, how did this all come together? You and BKFC.
After WWE, we left in January. I was thinking if I wanted to continue wrestling or not, and took a little break, healed from some minor injuries, and yeah, I got back with an old friend of mine, Shane Watson. He's a boxing manager in the United Kingdom. And we sat around the table and discussed some options, some fighting options, boxing options, maybe a comeback into the MMA world where I'm originally coming from. But yeah, there were some options, some good options as well. And then one of the options was BKFC, Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. And yeah, that's how it really started. It's something that's in my blood. It's something that's in my DNA, and I think I can do a lot of damage in BKFC.
May I ask what other options were on the table?
There were some boxing options against celebrities or whatever, but it's uh, it's not really the route I wanted to go right now. I'm still young. I'm 31 years old. I have a 9-year WWE career behind me. I was 19 when I fought in Bellator in the heavyweight division. I was the youngest heavyweight there, and I think that's something maybe for in a later, for in the future. But for now, I want to compete against the best, and I think the right choice is BKFC.
Was this for like misfits or
They
they were on the table as well?
they were on the table. There were discussions between my team and theirs. So
Okay. Well, that's fun. It's nice to have options, right? You go through the 9 year run and then you come back and like you want to get back to fighting. And seems like a lot of different organizations, some very successful, well known brands, so to speak, all wanted the opportunity to work with you. So that says a lot about you.
yeah, it says a lot about the career that I had, and it makes sense also for those promotions to have someone who competed for a long time, who held a title in the WWE, and it attracts a lot of fans, right, from different companies.
The MMA career, it was a nice run. You were in Bellator. You had the fight with Daniel Gallimore, and that was sort of the last MMA fight. And then the transition to pro wrestling. What 2015 is when the pro wrestling opportunity came your way, right? Because it was WWE like right out the gate, right? Like they offered you sort of a tryout like right away, right? There was no like independent run. It was just straight WWE and training with them.
Yeah, it was. I was actually on a training camp in Dubai in 2014, and it was in the gym of an old teammate of ours, Khalid Arab, and he was a Golden Glory fighter. I was a Golden Glory fighter, and he was a former K1 champion. And his business partner, Tom Khan, MMA TK and MMA Fit. WWE was hiring their gym to hold a tryout. And at that time, I never watched WWE or followed anything of that. So I was always into the K1 style and at that time the Strike Force and Cage Warriors stuff. So I didn't know WWE, but they said, "Hey, it's a good opportunity. Do the tryout. Maybe you get chosen, maybe not." I was 18 years old. I was still fighting, and I still had a couple fights that I had signed for at the time. And I just did the tryout, and I think there were 70 people, and I got chosen with my brother and two other guys. My brother didn't sign. The two other guys were from India, who never made it to the big stage. But yeah, that's
That's
how it happened. I it
that's
was
so
it
crazy.
was just a coincidence that they were at the gym where I was doing my fight camp at.
That it's just so wild, like kind of going through your story. I mean, 18-year-old, you get this opportunity. There's a bunch of people trying out, you get it, and you're just like, you basically like you've spent pretty much your entire adult life as a pro wrestler in the biggest company in the world with multiple stints, obviously, and you had some independent runs kind of sandwiched in between. But is that just sort of wild to think about? Because most people at 18, like they're getting ready to go to college, you already have like a bunch of fighting experience, and then you're on your way to WWE, and you were there for essentially over a decade. It's crazy to think about that you had this run, right? Like, have you ever thought about how different life could have been if you weren't at that gym on that day?
Yeah, I would have been, to be honest, I probably would have been in the UFC at the same time that I was in the WWE. We already had talks after the 16-second win over Ollie Thompson, who was just freshly out of the UFC. And at that time, my coach was already talking with the UFC, but they were saying, he's only 18 years old. Give it some time, wait till he's maybe 20 or something. And I thought I was going to go to the United States, to the WWE Performance Center just for maybe a couple of years, try it out. And I thought, tops 2 years, and then I will see what happened. But it took longer. But your question, not really, man. All I know is fighting, training and fighting. And WWE is basically the same. You train and you fight at night. You train during the day. You have 3, 4 shows a week. And you just do your thing. It's very similar to what fighters do, but then on a higher scale. You just do more shows.
Not only are you young, kind of getting into the business, but they put you with Paul Ellering along the way, who, I mean, this guy has been in the business forever. Even before I was born, Paul Ellering was doing his thing. Of course, the iconic manager of the Road Warriors, Legion of Doom, and some others along the way. But he was with you guys at the beginning and then in the end as well. What was that like, getting to work with Paul and learning from him? Because you'd be hard pressed to find a lot of people better to really be a sponge with than a guy like Paul.
No, he was the best, man. He was the best. Actually, funny story. We were in the WWE Performance Center still training. I think I was 1 year in, not even 1 year maybe. And they brought in Paul Ellering just to come see me and my tag team partner, Sonny Densa, Aiken. And we weren't on TV yet. We maybe had 5, 6 NXT live events in Florida. And he came, Triple H invited him just to see us. And if it felt good, you know, he would join us. If not, we wouldn't make our debut at NXT that week. And he liked it, so we made our debut. When we made our debut, we did a run-in on Gable and Jason Jordan, and we didn't even know if Boiling was gonna come out or not. It was they never told us, and he was backstage, but they never told us he's gonna come out. So when he came out, it was kind of a relief. We thought, "Fuck it," Yeah.
That's so funny. What was the biggest lesson you learned from him? I know, with working with LOD, he not only was like their manager and go-to guy like in the ring, but he was like their manager and go-to guy like for everything, like running their careers in a lot of respects. But I don't know like how specific the role was with him and you outside of the actual competition and the actual like promotional stuff. But what was the biggest lesson you learned from Paul?
Ooh, a lot of lessons, man. We spent a lot of time with him. He became our real manager as well. So he was the one negotiating with WWE for us. And he's family to us. We spent so much time on the road with him. We saw him more than our own families, basically. And he has a golden heart. He's uh, he's a very, very, very generous and kind person. Two things are guaranteed, he always used to say in the wrestling business: the miles and the money. That's one of the things that he always reminded us of. You're gonna make the miles and you're gonna make the money. And he was a man of his word. He said, if you set your mind to something, or if you agree to something, you do it. And the ones who don't, gotta get punished. So be true on your word, and that's it. Train hard, and yeah. But he's family to us.
That's awesome. And the first round ends and you guys come back. I believe it was in 2023. And not only did you come back with Paul, but you also returned as part of that faction with Karrion Kross and Scarlett. And Karrion has been one of the biggest names in the business over the past year, with kind of sharing his story with about his departure from WWE, and the fan reaction behind him was like nothing I've seen in quite some time from someone just independently like getting themselves over with the base. What was that like for you? Not only just coming back to WWE, but doing it with Paul and then doing it with Carrie and Scarlett as well.
We were actually signed for quite a while, and Hunter Triple H was just waiting for the right time and the right moment to, you know, put us back in. And then he gave Paul a call and talked with Paul about this faction idea with Killer Cross and Scarlett. And we knew him a little bit. We did some research, and Paul said this guy, is someone who is worthy of a world title, world championship in the WWE, and someone who can go against the big names like Roman Reigns, John Cena, and the guys at the top. So we agreed upon the fraction, and yeah, they did him dirty though. I gotta say that, and they did the whole group dirty. Obviously, there were some things that went around backstage that I don't want to get into with other groups, but yeah, we went out on a win over the uh, what's their names? Bo Dallas's group, the Wyatt
That's
Six.
six.
Yeah, and we went down on a win on them, and they released us. So that says a lot of how things went backstage. But we just didn't agree with a lot of things. We thought Cross was somebody that should have held a major title in the company. He had all the qualities, and he's a mastermind, creative wise. He really is, and someone who can just knock out promos without prepping, without thinking about it. And same goes for Scarlett. She's very creative as well. But yeah, somehow company saw it differently, and they didn't come up through on the word. So yeah.
What did you think of the of like the YouTube videos, and like I'm sure you're paying attention. You probably watch the videos of, is he leaving? Is it a work? Is it a shoot? Like, what is all this about? And it just captured the imagination of like the entire wrestling industry of what is he and Charlotte going to do, right? And then it turned out that they really left, and who knows what could happen down the road. It's pro wrestling, it's WWE, and anything is possible. But when they officially announced their departure and the way they went about it, what did you think of that? I thought it was brilliant personally, but what did you think being alongside of them and being in the business for as long as you were?
When we left, when me and Sonny and Paul left, we thought, they might use them how they should have been used with us as well. Uh, but yeah, I'm still great friends with Cross, so we communicated a lot, even when he still was there. Nothing but respect for him and Scarlett. I don't know, man. Like I said, I think they did them dirty, and I don't know what happened at the time backstage when we weren't there, but they could have done so much more with them. And you see it now on the independents; they're killing it. And yeah, it's a wasted opportunity for WWE. they could have done something big and make a lot of money. But I don't know. I
Yeah.
wasn't there, so I can't just speculate. I know Cross, at the end, he wasn't happy with some things that were promised to him and not delivered. So yeah, that's all I can say.
Yeah, I think it'll end up being a regret of WWE not keeping them around or not bringing them back. It would have been pretty wild if they had brought them back just out of nowhere after those videos dropped. It would have been amazing. But speaking of regrets, outside of the backstage politics, which is you can't control and you don't want to really get into specifics, any regrets from your WWE run outside of the political stuff, so to speak?
No, not really, because you have nothing in your own hands almost. That's all. Whatever they say goes.
Yeah.
You have some input, but especially when Vince was there, you throw 100 things at him, and he agrees on almost everything, and then nothing happens. It's it's crazy, man. It's a crazy place. It's a crazy business. But yeah, I have no regrets, man. We became tag team champions at Raw, became tag team champions at NXT. We won the Dusty World Classic Cup. Nothing else. It would have been nice if we would have won the SmackDown championships, maybe.
Yeah.
Uh,
Win them all.
other
Win
than
all the
that,
titles.
yeah. Look, if you really look at it, I was a former MMA fighter. My tag team partner was a world caliber amateur wrestler. He would have gone to the Olympics if he didn't sign with WWE. He would have gone to the Olympics representing Canada. We were real fucking fighters. And that doesn't translate good in the back in WWE because they look at you differently. Like you haven't paid your dues on the indies, you haven't done this, you haven't done that. We have been wrestling for 15 years at bingo halls and high school gyms. That's how they think. But yeah, I don't know. It's it's we were real fighters. We were there, and they could have done also way more with us. But we were happy.
Yeah.
They paid us well, so we just did our job.
Did you ever meet Dusty?
I met him. I met him once when I just went to the United States for a couple of days, and then my tag team partner actually worked with Dusty because he was there 6 months prior to me arriving.
What was that?
I never
Was
worked with him.
what was that meeting like? Especially, with everything you've learned about him through the industry and the legendary tales about him and the promos, and I'm sure everything you learned about him. You won the Dusty Classic. What was even if it was just for a couple of minutes? What was that like? Just being able to spend any time with Dusty and being able to meet him.
Yeah, I didn't spend any time. I just met him. I saw him there, and that's it. Never spoke a word to him. I
Really?
know.
Okay.
Yeah, I much rather would have met him. After a couple years in the business because I didn't know anything about the business. I was there and I was walking like just past legends that were at the performance center rehabbing or whatever, and I didn't know anybody. So, I learned as we were training at the WWE Performance Center. I didn't know anybody. I knew Brock Lesnar was in the WWE because of him in the UFC. I didn't even know he was a WWE wrestler prior prior to him being in the UFC. So I was like, I didn't know anything. Zero, zero, zero. I didn't even know it was 100% scripted. I didn't know anything.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Okay.
never watched it. I never watched one WWE show before my tryout.
Was it hard for you to pick it up? Like once you started trading? I mean, obviously you're an athlete and you're a fighter and you understand how that works, but the scripted part of it and telling the story both verbally and physically within a match, like how long did that take you to like really click, I guess?
No, it was not hard because Bill DeMott saw right away that I had a lot of talent and I was very athletic for someone being at that time at 18, 19 years old. I was two, 290, 285. And I picked it up very fast. And maybe that helped. It helped because I was already fighting professionally or whatever. But yeah, once we made our debut, I think I was 20 or something like that. But I think 6 months I knew everything. Credit also to William Regal. He really took me under his wing. He was the one also at the tryout who really said, "You really gotta come. You really gotta come." So William Regal and Coach Robbie at the time, I don't know if he's still there or not. They really really took me under their wings, and they pushed me much harder than they pushed other talent at the WWE Forum Center, because they were in need of a tag team or a group that wasn't American. They needed a heel group, heel tag team that was foreign, you know. So they pushed us in practice a lot, and that translated fast on us being on TV.
Well, you'll be on TV February 7th for KnuckleMania 6. No opponent yet as we speak, I'm told. So I'm sure at this point, like, doesn't matter who you're fighting. You just want to get in there and do it at this point.
No, I never cared, even back then when I was fighting. Never cared who I fight. You know, I know what I can do, and that's all I need to know. I fought so many times in kickboxing. You know, I went to a kickboxing Grand Prix World Championship in Germany in 2012. I didn't even know who was in the tournament, and I ended up winning. You know, a one night tournament. So I couldn't care. I couldn't care less. You know, I don't give a fuck. So I just go there and I fight whoever they want me to fight. I know there's opponents that have been presented to my agent, to Shane Watson, and he's the one that makes the decisions. I just train and show up at fight night and knock people out.
I mean, I think I know the answer just based on the last 20 minutes or so we've talked, but I guess like how would you describe the feeling ahead of this debut? Because you haven't had like an MMA fight in over a decade, I believe, or around a decade, and now you're doing this whole thing without the gloves. It's the bare knuckle, and most MMA fighters who I've spoken with that have transitioned to BKFC, they're like, it's just a different thing. Like when you hit and you get hit, it's so different than having the gloves on. So like I'm sure excitement is part of it. Are there like actual nerves here? I mean, I think that's probably a natural thing for any fighter is to experience some nerves because of the unknown, but this is just pretty wild and it's gnarly without the gloves. So like, how would you describe the feeling less than 2 months away as we speak from your BKFC debut? Is it similar to MMA or a little different?
I don't know, man. I don't feel anything. I don't. I really don't care, man. You know, I've been in so many fights without gloves. You know, in my early life, and we always, you know, I come from Team Golden Glory. A lot of people don't know what that means. You know, we sparred 2 times a week with MMA gloves, like 3 4 ounce gloves, and we sparred hard. You know, we would have we would knock guys out on a regular training day. You know, on a spar day. So it's all I know. And right now as well, you know, I let my teammates hit me with MMA gloves when we spar. I spar with boxing gloves. 16 ounce they fight with 4 ounce gloves. So yeah, of course I'm excited to get back into fighting, but there's no nerves. It's work for me, and I know what I can do. I know my power. You know, if I drop guys with 16 ounce gloves, you know, I'll break their face with no gloves, guaranteed. You know, a lot of people underestimate fists. You know, these are knives. You know, these are actual. If you actually know how to fight like me, these are murder weapons. You know, it's, that's it. I know what I can do. I know my power, and if I connect, it's done. I know that, and I know how to connect. So it's gonna be fast.
You being on sort of their it's this Knucklemania is essentially their WrestleMania. Like this is their big event. This is their annual extravaganza, so to speak. So there will be like a lot of eyeballs on it. And then they're going to introduce this baddest man tournament with like tens of millions of dollars on the line, which is like a very big deal. It's kind of not like completely open weight, but somewhat open weight, kind of a throwback, so to speak, probably of tournaments like you've been a part of in the past. Are you hoping with your name and your experience in WWE, the fact that people know you, and then you fighting at KnuckleMania, are you hoping that this performance, whatever you do February 7th, will get you into this tournament for a chance to win all that extra money? Are you even aware of the tournament yet?
Yeah, I saw it. I don't,
Okay.
but I don't care. It's my agent's job to do that. He knows what I want per fight, and you know, if they want to pay me that per fight, it's fine. I'll fight, and then if there's a prize on top of that for the first place or whatever, it's good. But I don't really care. It's not my job. My job is to train and knock people out, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do in the next couple of years. And picking matches and searching for opponents or whatever it is,
Yeah.
it's not my job. That's what I pay my manager for.
So what's the goal with all of this? Because I mean, obviously you obviously want to go in there and knock people out. That's very clear. But what's you sign with BKFC normally when people sign with promotions, like I want to get to this point, I want to get to this point. Doesn't seem like you just got to get in there and fight. That's just what it seems like to me. But is there an actual like mountaintop for you with BKFC? Do you want to be a world champion, or do you just all it is about the fights? Just get in there and fight, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, exactly. I just fight. Whatever happens, happens. Of course, I wanna. After I don't know, maybe 3, 4 knockouts, I want to test myself against whoever the heavyweight champion at the time is going to be, and yeah, it's obviously I want to win the gold there. So if I can make it to the top and win the BKFC heavyweight championship, that's perfect. That's all I want, and then we'll see from there. But for now, it's I look at it fight by fight, and February 7th is going to be the first one, and it's going to be the first victim, and yeah, God bless him, man. It's going to be fucked up for him, whoever it's going to be.
And then a couple of things I want to ask you about. You mentioned before signing with WWE, you felt like if you weren't in the gym that day, that you would have been in the UFC a couple of years later.
Mm.
And like you said, you're taking things one fight at a time. So whatever happens February 7th, we're looking forward to that. And then when the next thing's booked, we'll look at that. Do you think an MMA return is possible? Could you see yourself maybe going on a run to getting to that UFC position that you thought and your coaches thought at 18 years old that you were already ready for, and maybe they didn't? Could that happen, or are we not even thinking about that right now?
Yeah, it could happen. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Right now, I think the right choice is BKFC. It's a pretty young company. I met Conor McGregor in Manchester. We had some talks, and we watched the show there, BKFC Manchester, and they convinced me it's something that fits me, something violent, and the no gloves attracts me, and yeah, I saw a lot of blood that night, so that's good. So after that, it's really looking at what's on the table, and if it makes sense financially, if it makes sense uh, within the years, So we'll see. I think a return to MMA in the future is always possible. I love MMA. I still train sometimes like groundwork and stuff. So, but right now I'm focused with my stand up and with BKFC. So
What was that like meeting Connor?
meeting Connor.
What was that like? I know you guys talk shop a little bit about, him kind of selling you on the promotion and everything, but just, Connor and what he's done for MMA. And I mean, he's the biggest star in the history of the sport, biggest star in the history of the UFC, very polarizing personality. A lot of people would say. What was just meeting Connor and talking to him? What was that like?
Yeah, I was impressed by the show itself. I mean, the fights attracted me, into signing with them. It wasn't really him trying to sell me on the fights or anything, or into signing with them. But he's a great guy, man, and he really, really, really believes in BKFC. He really believes in the company, and I see why. After going to that show, you really gotta go once and witness it live. It translates on TV as well, but if you go live and you hear the sound of, I don't know if you know what
I
kind of a
bet.
sound it makes of a fist, breaking someone's jaw or someone's skull, or facial features. It makes a clocking sound, It's and I think once you go once, you want to go nonstop, to those kind of shows. With MMA, you have that sound, but it's not the same as bare knuckle. Bare knuckle, you really, really hear it, and you see blood spatter just through the crowd, and it's crazy, man. It's a different animal, and I think it's one of the fastest growing sports, fastest growing companies for a reason. And yeah, with Connor being there, I think it helps a lot, brings a lot of eyes to the company, and yeah, it was great chatting with him. He's a great guy, and
Yeah.
he respects what I did a lot as well. So that's good.
Yeah. I tell people this all the time. BKFC, I think, is the most fan friendly combat sport event to go to, including the UFC. Because I've covered a ton of UFC events. I've covered a couple of BKFC events in person. It's just a different experience because not only are the fights good and it's always a wild time, you just never know who's going to be there. The crowd atmosphere is insane, and then like the pacing of the events is just like by the time you can't even recover from what happened the previous fight. Like if you see the blood spatter, you see a crazy knockout, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. Then you look in the ring and like we're already starting the next fight. Like you have no time to actually like stop the emotional roller coaster until you leave the building. And then it's just an adrenaline dump
Yeah,
because
that's one thing
you
they
can never
do.
recover.
Yeah, that's one thing they did really well. It's like not too much time in between the fights, and it's a good tempo, and keeps you involved into the show. So it's yeah, it's different, man. Yeah, like I said, if you have the chance to go live and watch a BKFC event, I would 100% go because I've witnessed a lot of WWE events, obviously, and MMA events, and this was different, man. This was different.
Last thing I wanted to ask you, if Connor hit you up right now and said, hey, I'm glad you're with us. We want to get another WWE guy over here. Who would you suggest to Conor McGregor? Like which guy have you worked with in the locker room, or even one of the females? Because I feel like BKFC needs a female star so badly. They have a couple that are really good that just they never got to that point where I think they can be. But who do you think would make like a really good BKFC fighter from the guys and the gals that you've shared locker rooms with over the years?
For the guys, I think is it to fight me, you mean, or
No,
just to fight
just to fight
in
in
general?
BKFC.
Bobby Lashley, if he's not too old. I don't know what his age is right now. He's still in good shape.
Yep.
I don't know if he would fight me because he knows what I did. I fought on the same card as him actually in Bellator, and yeah, he wouldn't fight me. But then for females, I think she's not with WWE anymore. Daria,
Oh yeah. Okay.
she's a beast. Yeah,
All
and
right.
then yeah.
Hopefully Connor and Dave
Other than
Feldman are
that,
paying attention. Yeah. Hopefully they're paying
yeah,
attention. Make a couple phone calls and you know, let's see if we can get a nice little influx of past WWE talent in BKFC. But first, we'll see you compete at KnuckleMania 6. What a time to debut, making your BKFC debut for the fans. And appreciate you joining me, man. All the best to you. This news threw me off a little bit, but makes perfect sense, especially after talking to you. So can't wait to find out who you're fighting in Philadelphia on February 7th. And I wish you all the best, my man. Thank you for the time.
thank you, man.